The nimble Daihatsu Special, driven by Adnan Suhail and Absalom Aswani, gave away 1 second on stage 1, but was simply uncatchable on the long section. On average, they were 5 kph quicker than the Celica and won by a convincing margin. This was their second consecutive victory on the Guru Nanak Rally and their second win of the season.
It's not a very good event for me. My car is more good in twists and turns and all. But yes, it has proven its point that it can keep up with the Golfs and the Levins. Yeah.
This car has taken today's position #1 in the two-wheel drive being driven by Adnan Suhail.
10 of the 14 cars finished, with Adnan Suhail winning by nearly 2 minutes ahead of Niyaz Bashir, with Joel Mushiri in third. James Karimi was a disappointing 5th, but just being amongst the finishers in 7th was more than enough for the girls. With 1 event remaining, James Karimi holds on to the championship lead, but with 20 points for a win, he can't claim the title yet. Niyaz Bashir moves from 4th to 3rd, and Patrick Ibarra drops 2 places to 5th. The majority of the entry were battling it out for the honours in Division 3, including a host of new drivers taking up the sport for the first time. There was especially much interest in seeing how Jassi Chath and Gurdeep Panisar got on in Lee Rose's X-Evo 9. They put in an impressive performance and by the end of stage 2 were lying 9th, but dropped back on stage 3 when they hit a rock, breaking a front strut. This was followed by picking up 3 punctures, and with so many drawbacks, finishing 19th was not a true measure of their potential. Also putting in a sterling performance for their first attempt at the sport were Manveer Barian and Shamir Yusuf in a Tommy Mackinnon prepared N16. With professional mechanics servicing the car, they are taking the sport seriously.
Can you tell me when there's 6 or 7?
They started the event cautiously, but as they got more used to the car, they got quicker and quicker, eventually climbing 6 places to finish in a very respectable 14th. Jagjit Pata and Zahir Shah proved that they are misplaced in Division 3 by setting times on the first 3 stages that saw them climb 7 places up the leaderboard to 12th. Then within sight of the control at the end of stage 4, the car suddenly stopped and they went no further.
With the fuel, Joe, is the fuel okay?
Okay, it's cranking, but it's not starting. No, the fuel pump is running, it's running. It's not a miss. Where's the main wiring harness?
Despite only putting in intermittent appearances, Phidias Kimathi and George Mwangi were fast out of the blocks, immediately claiming a top 10 place.
The stages are rather very fast. I prefer a tighter event where you are able to exercise the skill and not just an event where you're driving over 200 kilometers per hour all the time.
They spent the rally overtaking car after car, and considering the quality of the entry, did well to eventually finish 7th. Sandip Jandu and Gurdeep Mahangra have already outpaced their rivals in Division 3 and have the title sewn up.
We said might as well take some more points if we can, and then we secure it totally. To be 100% sure now that we have won the championship.
They were as high up the leaderboard as they could get, and with nothing to gain or lose, were exploring the car's limits. They must be the most improved crew of the year, and finishing 6th was solid proof. With Tedfir Rai, Anthony Thibault and Issa Amwari not finishing, the only change on the Division 3 board was the additional 80 points Sandip Jandu added to his already unassailable lead. The competition amongst the Division 2 drivers was widespread through the field as they became separated, each incurring time losses that put them out of place on the leaderboard. For Anwar Pandya and Ken Masoni, a placing was less important than recording a finish, which had eluded them on the 3 previous events.
I really got to bring this car home. I really need to bring it home. That's all. No other story, and hope to God there is no other story. Because the last time in Kisumu I told her I'll come back, I couldn't come back. So this time...
Whilst this was the goal, in the car they were making no concessions, and despite puncturing, having the wrong tyre pressures and brake issues, they made it to the end, and coming 25th didn't matter. When Onkar Rai and Andrew Doig are going, they are always a threat for a top placing. But the wind was taken out of their attack when the brake fluid leaked out of a bleed nipple and were forced to drive the long stage on the handbrake.
There's some straights where you can put your foot down, and then you come into a corner, you have to, like, I have to change gears like way before, slow down, use the handbrake a bit, and basically impossible to get a corner properly.
With the car back on form, they set about clawing their way up from 28th, recovering 12 places to finish 16th. Having missed the last 3 events, whilst the car and more importantly the engine were rebuilt, Charles Hinga and Mutuma Marimba were back behind the wheel of their Evo 7. They were out of contention in the division race, and the event was all about settling back in. Having developed his skills behind the wheel of a 2-wheel drive Levine after a year in the Group N, Childer's potential still remains untapped. They finished 13th.